Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Well, today we've got something interesting in our vintage classic Matchbox look back at the kits of yesteryear. This is a kit I didn't have the first time round. I don't remember it actually. I think that maybe my local model shop or post office, which was my main supplier for Matchbox kits at the time, I don't think they actually had this. I don't ever recall seeing it back in the day. The day being, let's have a quick check. Yep, 1974, which is what I thought. I'm pretty sure if I'd have seen this, I'd have got quite excited about it because it's really quite a nice looking kit. Again, it's got artwork by the great Oxley, very colourful, very exciting sort of image, full of action. These Messerschmitt 410s were kind of a fighter bomber, and in this case they've got these. It's got this huge great cannon on the front, and it's attacking flying fortresses over Germany. So I'm pretty sure I'd have remembered this. But anyway, there we go. I didn't see it the first time around, and I managed to catch up with a really nice copy here about 2 or 3 years ago. So let's get stuck in. What does it say here? First of all, it says, as you can probably see, it's got the escort Mustangs of a force of UASF, United States Army Air Force B-17 Fortress and Liberator bombers attack from above the Me-410s of the 11th Jägerschwader, destroying 12 of their aircraft. The Gruppe was subsequently forced to stand down on May the 13th, 1944. Now I was going to say, in fact, where my thumb is where the Mustangs are, so apologies for that. Let's zoom you back in so you can see the Mustangs diving down and doing tremendous damage. It's not a very good advert for the Messerschmitt 410, is it really? And I was going to say, as I understand it, this aircraft didn't have a great career. It was certainly very powerful, but maybe a bit on the clumsy side. Not a great manoeuvrable plane, and a bit heavy with this big cannon at the front, twin engines. It perhaps was a bit of an odd design, certainly as a fighter. Probably better suited as a ground attack aircraft, I would have thought. But anyway, so today we have got this one. It's Pk-113. As usual, we've got the artwork on the box end, and also as usual for the aircraft at least, we've got the completed kit without painting shown with its decals on. No painting is necessary. And then on the reverse we've got the traditional sort of 1974. It's not in great shape, this one actually. It's the window is just starting to come away, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful with it. But you can see we've got all the artwork on the back, and again it shows the cannon. And it's got here autumn 1944. We have the 5th Staffel Zerstögerschwader 26 Horst vessel in Germany, autumn 44, and we have quite an interesting sort of speckle pattern on it. Below we have the Staffel Edelweiss Kampfgeschwader at Beauvais in France, and that's February 44. And then a bit more of a conservative sort of typical Luftwaffe camouflage. Almost looks like a bomb in the camouflage, if I'm honest. But anyway, but it's an interesting aircraft with this great big cannon on the front. So let's have a look at it. I'm going to try and draw it out very carefully because I don't want to damage that window. So please bear with me while I try and get this out for you as delicately as I can. Actually, it's putting it back in that worries me. It does the damage. There we go. Oh. Right, well, anyway, the good news is it's all the clear parts are all on the sprue. That's a good start. Let's have a look at them in closer detail then. So yeah, we've got this rather interesting, quite attractive, like a bubble canopy, isn't it, with framed bubble cockpits. It's got 2 men on board, and it has a rear gunner, a navigator and a pilot, and it has a separate piece there. The window is, I think that is that underneath? We'll see later. Anyway, it looks nice. It's in very good shape considering it's what, 47 years old nearly. Then we've got, just put the sprues out here. This looks like a nice kit actually. Still can't really understand why I never saw it the first time around. Oh, by the way, we've got, whoop, be careful with this. I've got a nice Matchbox stand, again in lovely condition, pretty much mint that is, I'd say. Pop that over there. Then we have some decals, and it's still got the original tissue with it, and the decals look great actually. Oh, I like new. That's really good. This has been somewhere nice and dry and airy and not been affected by moisture. And then we've got the traditional 1974 styled orange Matchbox instructions for an orange range kit. So the ME410 makes its first appearance in Britain in June 1943, being developed from the ME210, which had been a complete failure, it says. It was externally barely distinguishable from the earlier aircraft, but had greatly improved handling characteristics. The first type to enter production had an internal weapons bay which accepted a wide variety of armaments. It was a specialised bomber destroyer fitted with a 50mm Bk410 cannon under the fuselage, which carried 21 rounds in a circular breech. All types used the remotely controlled lateral barbettes with the MG131 machine guns. Okay. Interesting stuff. Quite an unusual looking plane. It looks like an insect to me. It reminds me of a sort of a dragonfly almost. And then we've got on the back the traditional, typical small parts painting guide with your wheels and tyres and undercart, propeller, spinner, the cannon, tail wheel, antennas, pilot, paint inside the cockpit surround and the cockpit floor and the seating. It's also interesting actually just to point out that on this early version of the instructions it's got the listing of all the ones that are in the range, which is quite interesting. Buccaneer, I think that's the one we've talked about, the Jaguar, the Corsair, Helldiver. There's several of these that we're going to see or have seen. Then we've got the colour call-outs, just calling out for the Humbrol colours, Humbrol enamels of course. And there's also a complaint form here which you could fill in if you had any problems with your kit, if there was something wrong with it or you needed to get spare parts or something, which is quite good. And then on the actual instructions themselves, zoom in a bit for this, we have got your two men back to back into this floor and very rudimentary seats that they're sitting on. And then you've got these, this is these remote control cannons on the side operated by the guy at the back, these barbettes it mentioned. Quite an unusual thing to have these guns sort of sticking out the side of the aircraft with like a remote control. So you build those up and then you, obviously they actually move as well, so they're on like a pivot system, so that's quite good, and it's quite realistic. Build that up, then you're building up your engines, putting in your propellers and your spinners on, exhausts go on, and then it's recommending that you need to put your cockpit on. So it has a little window, that's the bit of glass that I couldn't quite distinguish here. A little bit of a window at the front, which is interesting. It says, for the A2/U4 version only, camouflage scheme should be painted over the glazed nose panel, which is interesting, isn't it? Well, I never. And then you're building up your wings, just top and bottom, simple design really here. Popping your engines on, pitot head, aerial. I'd leave those off till the end if I were you, for obvious reasons, because they're getting knocked off. Then you've got your tailplanes going on, and you've got your gear going together with the wheels and tyres. And then we've got, and this angle actually looks like a mosquito, doesn't it? It's interesting. You've got all your gear and gear doors going in there, your cannon goes on, intakes under the engines, and then finally, if you do decide to have the wheels up and put it on the stand, you need to put your doors on there and close them. And it shows here the angle at which the main gear doors should be shown. It's quite an interesting little plane, it's not something you see a lot of. So let's have a look at these sprues and see just exactly what they're like, because it's quite an unusual aircraft. So, here we are. And you can see these circles, the circular holes, is for the barbettes for these swivelling cannons, rearward facing cannons, which is quite cool. I guess from the the way they depict the story on the artwork, they weren't that successful because, yeah, a bit of an innovation perhaps, but I don't think it helped the aircraft that much. Especially when you've got the guy sort of remotely controlling it as well. He must have felt quite vulnerable there without having a gun in front of him. Strange. Anyway, the moulding's beautiful. It's very slim, like I said, it was like a dragonfly, and it does look like it a bit here. Most curious sort of shape. Almost looks Japanese. A bit like their style of aircraft design. Here's your barbettes where your cannons go in here, that go into this hole, facing backwards and then pivoting. Quite nice, isn't it? Recessed panel lines, very nice. Can't fault it. Absolutely no flash at all, of course, and interestingly, it actually says on the mould, it says 1973. I don't know if you're going to get that or not. Let's just see if I can get you to... Can you see that? 1973. So actually, is it 73 or 75? It says 75. My eyesight, you can see better on the camera. I can actually make that out better on the camera than I could with my own eyes. So 75, so that's when it was moulded. They obviously printed the box earlier. Interesting. Then we have the wings. And this is a nice sprue. It's brown plastic. Nicely recessed panel lines. Oh, looks very nicely engraved actually. It's quite a decent bit of panel lining for Matchbox, I have to say. Better than the average one anyway. Yes, it looks quite impressive, and there's some nice hatches and panels. All looks very finely done, a little bit more crisp than they usually are, in fairness, I'd say. Very nice. And then blue. It's quite a shocking blue, isn't it? And this has obviously got your engine nacelles on here and here, your spinners, and then we've got the propellers. We've got the two crew here. Yep, they're quite nice. There's actually a tiny bit of flash on these crewmen's arms, which is very rare on a Matchbox kit. Very rare indeed. Perhaps they didn't quite get the mould right, it must have slipped up. And yes, we've got the other prop there, and then we've got the undercarriage, and a couple of intakes that go under the engines. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. Oh yeah, and here's the cannon. This great thing here is the cannon, which is mighty, isn't it? It's 50mm cannon sticking out the front. Couldn't have helped the aerodynamics though, I don't think. Well, there we have it. It's a nice kit actually, got to say. It's yeah, it all seems very, very smart. It comes with lovely artwork. Decals are nice clear parts. The canopy, etc., looks very crisp. Nice framing on it. It's a beauty, really. So I'm quite glad I got this, because I did try and get a couple of others previously. So I just need to get some tape on the inside of that thing. But I say I couldn't find one until quite recently. It was half decent, but this is an absolute stunner. So, something a little bit different. So, hope you found that interesting. I'd give that probably an 8 out of 10, 8.5, something like that. Nothing wrong with the kit at all, as far as I can see. And quite an interesting and unusual aircraft with an unusual look to it. So, hope you enjoyed that and found it interesting. If you did, please like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to click the notification button, the bell, I should say. Because if you do that, you'll obviously get notified for the next review that I do that comes up. And there'll be a few more still to come, aircraft and armour from Matchbox. And in the meantime, thank you very much for joining me, and hope you found it interesting, and I look forward to seeing you again soon in the very near future. In the meantime, take care of yourself. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.